let's now cross over to Busia and see how the ODM party nominations are going on. We have our very own Simon Achola, who is on standby to give us the same.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Ben Troy Njue. We are indeed in Busia County, and we are focusing on ODM party primaries that are going on as we speak. And as I speak to you right now, I'm actually at Butula Boys Primary School, one of the polling center here in Butula constituency, one of the 7 sub-counties in Busia County. The county has a total of 365 registered voters, but of course that is important for the general election. However, today ODM party members will be picking their flag bearer in the coming general poll, and of course they'll be picking their flag bearers from the MCAs to the MPs, the women rep, senator, and of course ultimately the governor, the chief executive officer, who will be running this county for the next 5 years. Ben, what I would tell you is that this process has not been devoid of challenges since morning. In some polling stations, what we have witnessed is that the kids have not been working in some stations, and we also have witnessed in some stations kids arriving very late. For instance, in one of the polling stations that is in Kanjala, that is in Marach Ward, the kids arrived at around midday. That means that the locals there were actually supposed to begin casting their vote at around midday. But by the time we are leaving that center, what I can assure you, Ben, is that the voting exercise had not begun, simply because there was some confusion in terms of the name of that place. In Busia, we have a place called Ganjala and we have another place called Kanjala. And that confusion, of course, ensured that the kids that were meant for Kanjala were actually transported to Ganjala, and the kids that were actually meant to come to Ganjala had actually been transported to Ganjala. That in itself meant that nothing would have actually happened at that place. And as I speak to you right now, the voting exercise has not actually begun at that place. Now, that brings into question of exactly what is going to happen at that particular polling station and very many other polling stations across the county that have actually experienced those challenges. Now, we are told that that polling stations across the county were actually opened at around 6 a.m. and they expected that party members would start casting their votes at around 7 a.m. in the morning up until 6 today in the evening. But as I speak to you, Troy, in some of those polling stations, the exercise is yet to kick off. So that, of course, bringing into question of exactly if indeed those polling stations will continue to open beyond 6 p.m. this evening, or what will exactly happen. We sought the views of the presiding officers who are actually involved in the running of those polls in those particular polling stations, and what they told us that as we speak now, they are yet to get communication from the head office if indeed they will be extending the voting time or they will be closing the polling stations at 6 p.m. as had been communicated earlier on. I also just want to bring to your attention that of course the candidates that are actually one of the seats that are actually been hotly contested for is a seat of the governor, and we have the former Minister for Sports and of course the former Minister for Fisheries, Paul Otoma, going it out with the current women rep for Busia, that is Florence Mutua, and of course we are looking keenly at what exactly will be happening between those two. Remember, this is predominantly an ODM county, and what happens in the party primaries will have a bigger effect on what exactly will be happening in the subsequent general election. But nonetheless, Troy, I will be talking to a number of locals who've actually come here, so then they can actually give us what they actually feel in terms of how the exercise has actually been run since morning and how it's going, and of course if they are content with how the issues are happening. One of the locals who's actually come here is standing right here, and she'll just actually tell us exactly what is happening. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes. Kindly tell us what time you arrived here. First and foremost, tell us your name and tell us at what time you arrived here. And so far, how you are actually seeing the exercise going on.
Okay, I'm Sylvia Wade, mwananchi wa hapa Butula. Na mimi nimekuwa hapa kuanzia saa 1 za asubuhi na tumeona na nimeshuhudia kuwa tumepewa ruhusa ya kuja kuchagua viongozi wetu ambao tunawachagua kwa mapenzi ya roho yetu. Na unavyoona katika uwanja huu wa Butula Boys Primary kuna idadi ya karibu watu 800 ambao walifika kuanzia asubuhi na wanaendelea kwa shughuli za kupiga kura ambazo
hadi sasa. Sylvia, hebu nieleze, umeona hii shughuli imeenda vipi? Imeenda kulingana na matarajio yako? Imeenda vizuri ama imekuwa na matatizo kadha wa kadha?
Hakuna matatizo ambayo nimeshuhudia kwa macho yangu kuanzia asubuhi. Nimefika hapa, wananchi walifika mapema na wamekuwa kwa shughuli za kupanga laini kupiga kura na wanatoka. Hakuna fujo ambayo nimeshuhudia kwa macho yangu kufikia sasa.
Tuna watu ni wengi sana katika mstari katika mlolongo huu wa kupiga kura. Pengine nini kingefanyika kwa maoni yako ili kuhakikisha kwamba pengine huu msururu unaweza kutembea kwa haraka?
Kulingana na mimi ninavyoona, mikakati yote iliwekwa vizuri. Msururu unaendelea watu wanaendelea kupiga kura wakitoka, na hivyo ndo tulikuwa tunaomba ili kura tuipeleke haraka, tupige kura haraka tumalize.
Asante sana Sylvia. Of course that is one of the locals here telling us of exactly what she feels of this particular exercise. Mzee, namna gani?
Niko sawa kabisa.
Umefika hapa mapema sana. Tueleze shughuli hii inaendelea vipi?
Nimefika, shughuli imeenda sawa. Lakini kitu ilikuwa na shida kidogo, ilikuwa kuangalia register majina. Lakini tukaingilia tukajaribu kurekebisha na wale makarani wako na register wamejaribu kuharakishia. Lakini shughuli inaenda sawa.
Kando na hiyo register ambayo umesema, hiyo sajili ya wapiga kura, umesema mambo yote yameenda shwari kabisa?
Mambo yote yameenda shwari, lakini hii furugu naona kidogo ni vijana lakini tumejaribu kutulisha.
Vurugu ilikuwa juu ya nini?
Vurugu ilikuwa tu juu ya wapinzani wawili, ya Tito na Suka. Watu wanatoka kijiji kimoja ndio wanafurugana kwa sababu wao watu opponent wakati walikuwa wanapiga campaign walikuwa na lai kwa hiyo vijiji. Ndio vijana sasa wanaonelea kunyang'anyana watu kuleta kupiga kura.
Shukran sana. Of course, that is one of the locals actually giving us his perspective of exactly what is happening here at Butula Primary School, one of the polling centers here in Butula constituency in Busia County. Troy, one other thing that I would actually just want to put it to you is the fact that unlike IBC procedure where we have various voters actually lining up as per their alphabetical order, here it is free for all, and we're just having one line that is actually heading into the polling center. That in itself, of course, has occasioned this snarl up that you're actually seeing here. And of course, this is an exercise that we will be keeping a keen eye to ensure that indeed we bring you first-hand information of exactly what is happening here in Busia County. From the information that we've actually gathered from the officers involved in this exercise, we are expecting that probably at around 9 or thereabout, we'll be able to give you final results of exactly what would have happened here in Busia County in terms of who will be representing ODM party on which ticket and for which seat and on ODM ticket. Back to you, Ben, to enjoy.